What is up guys, Cody here, and welcome to the NTW3 mod. So as we all know, 4th of July is just around the corner, and I was thinking why not make a video on it. So, we are here today, we got the Americans and the British facing one another. Now historically, the British actually did burn down the White House. So today we're going to see if these Americans are able to hold the White House. And we will pretend this farmhouse will be it. You can see it already has troops in it, and the battle is about to commence. So, turning my artillery around, British troops will be assaulting my position. But let's go over the army comps real quick. So, we got some 6-pound foot artillery. In front of that, we got some rifles and rangers. They're going to be acting as my light infantry. First volleys being fired, actually killing a couple of those riflemen. And there goes my artillery, hitting close to the cavalrymen. Here goes another volley. But as you can tell, the British will have rockets, and they are stationed over here. Now, they are hidden due to the fact that there's a building here. But they are going to be bombarding the positions as the British troops do assault. As you can tell, my artillery and my riflemen are actually going to be engaging first and killing quite a few guys. You can see a couple of them dropping. But right now I'm hoping my artillery can do some damage, and as you can tell, it's clearly doing just that, wiping a lot of British troops off their feet. Actually killing, you're knocking over a ton of these guys here. But let's go over my line infantry. So I have the Pennsylvania militia, and they're going to be accompanied by some Maryland militia. And they're going to be defending the front section of my lines. And then behind that, I have some regular line infantry, and they're going to be holding the back lines. Now, as for my general, we have James Madison himself. He was actually the president at the time during the War of 1812, and he's going to be commanding his men during this battlefield, or during this game. And then we have another line infantry unit inside of the White House. They're going to be making sure this place is secure and safe. Taking a look at the flanks, you can see a lot more line infantry. I actually brought some line infantry for the extreme flanks, and then behind that we have some Maryland Dragoons. As for on the left flank, we got some more light infantry, 6th line, 22nd line, Marines, best unit for the Americans. You'll see how well they do in this game. Got the 4th line, and then some more Maryland Dragoons. So taking a look at the assault, as you can tell, British are going to be taking quite a bit of losses at the start. And I'm actually going to be firing canister. That's going to be ripping holes into the British lines. And I'm just hoping my artillery can succeed in dropping that morale. And as you can tell, targeting this one unit is making it go orange, which is exactly what I want right now. I'm going to try and push these British troops off the hill. As you can tell, light infantry now engaging the foot. And I do hear a cavalry charge. So we got some British Dragoons now charging in. They're going to be going on a head-on charge with my rifles. And the question is, will they make it to the lines without breaking? Maryland militia getting some really good shots in, downing a couple of these Dragoons as they do cross. And soon enough, my secondary lines will start engaging. There they go. Looks like my rifles are in some trouble right now, getting melee into. But luckily that second line is going to help out quite a bit. But still, numbers very healthy. And seeing that my rifles have been routed, it looks like the British player is going to be falling back. He did take some pretty heavy losses, but for the most part, his unit is pretty much intact. See canister still being fired, and look at this morale shock after those rifles did break. I do have James Madison nearby, but I don't know if it will be enough to keep the morale up, because right now my militiamen are taking a really bad beating. As you can tell on the far right flank, I did start the line engagement. I saw that I was outnumbered them by quite a bit, so wanted to start engaging there. And look at this, Hussars getting very close to my light infantry, and these guys are unable to form square, getting a couple shots in, killing quite a few. But the Hussars will make it into melee combat. I do have my Maryland Dragoons here. They're going to be getting into melee combat as well. See, instant morale droppage from the Hussars. No match against the Maryland Dragoons. And just like that, that unit did break. But the Dragoons did break my light infantry. That's going to even the odd for this line battle on the far right flank. As for in the center, hell is still breaking loose. You can see a lot of these cavalry units are getting pretty depleted. As for the left flank, another engagement is going to begin. And I was feeling very confident in this left flank charging in. But you guys will see just how bad things do turn when I do charge in. So it looks like I did drop the morale for the British quite a bit there. But that return charge just decimated my unit. And just like that, broke on impact. So it's going to allow the British to have free reign of cavalry on the far left flank, and that's going to be a huge concern for me. As you can tell, there are some more artillery pieces here. You got the 9-pound King's German Legion horse artillery, and they're going to be pounding my line infantry. Not to mention, there are some howitzers, and once again, another big cavalry pushing in now. Militia line still not wanting to break. Artillery firing like crazy. And you can see that canister ripping holes into the cavalry. But they too are also going to make it into the Rangers. Militia trying their best to down as many people as possible. And look at that. 10th Hussars did break. But the center lines are starting to waver. As you can tell, Militia not having a fun time. Actually getting shot in the back by their own men. Something you really don't want to happen. My artillery is now starting to break. And look at this chain reaction. And I'm sure those rockets are not helping my cause whatsoever. But some good news on the far left flank. As you can tell, the 87th is starting to get wrapped around. And it's going to allow me to do some pretty severe damage to these guys. Don't know how well the Irish will hold up, but here we go. Going to be shifting over some more lines now, seeing that the militia are starting to break. I do need to give them a break because of how drained they were from that engagement. So here we go. It looks like they're actually going to be charging in. Will I get the counter charge in is the question. And yes, I will. That downhill charge will help me pretty significantly. And look at that. Breaking that one unit. This unit's about to break. Point blank volleys. And there goes 2 British units. So just like that, what seemed to be a disaster in the center is now turning to be a success. And I might want to continue this melee charge, seeing how effective it was. But these British troops do keep up a very, very fast fire rate, and I don't know if it will be enough to break my lines. I'm trying my best, and you can see these numbers are really starting to drop right now. And the morale is just getting to my guys. But luckily, a couple do make it into melee combat, stabbing a few, but then retreating. You see that initial charge just really destroyed the British morale. And as you can tell, the British general, very, very far back. He's a complete pansy. You know, James Madison, he loves being a part of the action. He's actually starting to take some losses because he's getting so close. And he is accompanied by some riflemen, so got some additional bodyguards, not to mention the guys staring outside the windows, making sure he is okay and not dead. But look at this left flank. I did manage to form a square at the right time and broke one of those light dragoonians. The other one did not fall back, and he too will also break. But look at this square formation. Instead of having a hollow center, you can see it's completely filled up, and that means it's going to be very, very difficult for line or cavalry to actually penetrate through. And you can see actually one cavalryman charging through one of those guys and actually sending him flying. But this center assault that is charging is not working out whatsoever. I did start a melee assault on this flank as well. But they too are having a tough time, especially in the center. You can see the amount of routing troops happening right now. And I am starting to really regret this charge because I am losing way more units than what the British are. And the British troops are actually going to be coming back to the battlefield. As you can tell, I'm going to be chasing down the Dragoons and some foot with my cavalry. I really want to make sure they do break and don't come back. And it's also going to allow me to charge into these 5-inch howitzers, seeing how big of a threat they are. But these numbers are still very healthy. For some odd reason, they are shooting canister. Not too sure why they're doing that. But the British have pretty much complete control of the center. As you can tell, bodies are really starting to be piled up now. And James Madison getting extremely close, losing another 2 guys in his unit, but still holding on. He's trying to waver his men, calling them forth and trying to get them back on the battlefield, because there is no hope for these guys if they do not come back. And you can see the chain reaction is starting to happen once again. Shifting over to the light infantry here, but these Marines on the far left flank are just keeping things so solid despite what's going on. The morale is extremely high on the left flank, even without James Madison being over there. It just shows you how important these guys are on the battlefield and how crucial they will be later on. As you can tell, these are where the rockets are shooting from. And taking a look very far away, you see just the devastation that it is causing. It's actually caused 48% damage on the White House, and that is not good. So any more damage, and this thing could possibly be broken down. And historically accurate to where they actually did set fire to it. So we will see if that happens. But right now, James Madison is very busy trying to get his troops to come back to the battlefield. And as for the flank, I do outnumber him, but this 14th Foot unit is just causing so much damage. I have tried countless times to break them. They finally do break, but not after, routing like 3 or 4 units, which is ridiculous. Another charge here by me, very unsuccessful. Line infantry routing, they are exhausted. I'm going to be shifting over more units, but here goes the General's bodyguard for the British. Pushing in, it seems, and it looks like he's going to be trying to chase down these rifles. Will the rifles get a shot off in time? Yes, they will. Downing one guy, but definitely not enough to take them all out, and as a result, it's going to cost them 2 routes. As you can see, some of the units are getting bunched up on the White House, but they are leaving the battlefield. Light infantry did break, but I'm going to fill the gaps in with my Maryland Dragoons and the Pennsylvania Militia. These guys did come back from the battlefield, and as you can tell, Marines kicking ass, breaking yet again another unit. I do need to be careful of canister here, because I am getting very, very close, and it's actually breaking them. So there they go. That canister volley did a really good job in morale, destroying my guys. But look at this, line infantry now coming back to the battlefield. So my center is very weak at the moment. And look at this, James Madison yet again losing another guy. So down to just 5 guys in his unit. Here he is, looking fantastic. And this blue jacket looking very, very nice. But look at this, White House taking a beating, 50% damage now. The structure seems to be okay, nothing severe, but I guess the internals are pretty damaged at the moment. But this is good. My guys are able to shoot outside the windows and hopefully get some good shots in on the 2nd Battalion. But this poor line infantry unit stuck from 3 angles right now, trying to hold where the artillery was holding and keep the line intact. But here we go, some progress is beginning to be made. I do have my artillery crew. They did rout, but they are back, and once again another artillery barrage, this time hitting the White House. And some severe damage now to the White House, actually breaking these units inside. They're going to be running down. Fire has started, and things are starting to become more of a reality. So, looks like the British did set fire to the White House. Maybe not exactly with torches, but artillery will do. And look at that, those guys breaking. Horrible news for James Madison and his men. But the battle must continue, and the Americans must try to beat these guys back. As you can tell on the far right flank, things seem to be working out pretty well. As you can tell, there are 3 units to my 4, which is nice, but like I said, morale is still going to be playing a huge factor. In the center, going to be outnumbering this 1 foot unit. And I'm going to continue to push these guys back into the building and hopefully hold. And for some odd reason, there is a graveyard in front of the White House. Not too sure why that is there. Maybe because they want to intimidate the enemy by some means. Or it's just a resting place, early resting place for the president before he does die. But James Madison is still holding on strong. Watching his routing troops rout must be a horrible thing to see, especially with British troops this close to the White House. I'm sure he would have never expected these guys to actually land and burn down his house. I'm sure he is not happy with the British and their moves, but look at this. Looks like my 6-pound foot artillery broke the foot, and they're heading over to the next unit now. With only 5 guys left, they did break, but they broke that foot unit with only 6 guys, so that itself should give them a medal. That was insane work. And look at this left flank. The Marines actually breaking. Wait, where are the Marines? Here they are. No, Marines don't break. What am I talking about? So the Marines are going to be holding once again. British cavalry from behind. These guys are forming square at the right time. And the Marines making excellent moves. Numbers still very healthy. And just like that, Light Dragoons did break. So everything is pretty much resting on the Marines right now. And it looks like there's a house engagement. British troops entering the house. They are not welcomed. And there goes the White House. So James Madison has just lost his house. He's probably going to be looking for a new one. Or he's going to try and fight for it back. But in the conditions that it is, I don't know if he wants to do that. Very unstable. I'm sure the insurance is going to be extremely high after that. But taking a look at the rest of the battle, you see the 6th Line Infantry in their nice white uniforms going to be getting flanked, going to rearrange the lines and get them to fire once again. Marines now starting to flank the King's German Legion foot. These guys are such a kick-ass unit. Look at them. Getting some really good shots in, but over here, outnumbered these guys 3-1, and still my guys are routing. And even more troops routing. These guys are done. They are done with this battle. They want to go home. And that is something these Americans really don't want to see, especially the ones that are still fighting. Can't imagine what they're thinking right now, seeing their own guys rout from the battlefield when they are still here fighting. Another barrage with the rockets. Pretty devastating volley. It may not seem like they're killing many, but it's definitely hurting my morale. Usually this mod is meant for more of a morale shock rather than kill them all kind of game, but here we go. Still, even with the flank in progress, these guys are not breaking. That's probably because the general's right here. And here goes some more line infantry charging in. Look at this bloodbath. So there they go, line infantry charging into the British. British going to try and countercharge. And even with that charge from me, morale is still not good. Marines actually starting to hurt with the morale. Getting shot from 3 angles, actually 4 angles. British artillery actually shooting their own guys. Very, very happy to see that. But here we go. I see that my line of infantry are in some trouble right now. And I'm soon going to send James Madison into the melee engagement. We will see how that turns out. Here he goes, charging into the 2nd Battalion. They did break the line of infantry, but they want some revenge, and they definitely want their house back. So here they go. They are active, but they are charging uphill, which is going to slow them down a little bit. But here comes the British general. He's going to have none of this. And I'm going to charge straight in. James Madison, let's take a look at where he is on the battlefield. Here he is. Will he kill anyone is the question. He is breaking, and no, James Madison is dead. So what a shame for the Americans losing their president and their general. Something you just don't want to happen. And now the only thing they can rely on now is the Marines. And look at this, Marines breaking from the battlefields. It is absolute chaos for these Americans right now. They are outnumbered, outgunned, outclassed, just out everything. Did I say that right? I don't think I did, but I'm going to carry on anyways. But as you can tell, you get my point. Marines breaking, it's not a good time for these Americans. But luckily on the right flank, things might shift for the Americans. As you can tell, 4-on-1, there's no way in hell these 2 units are going to be able to take out all of these 4 American units. But we will see. Looks like he's going to be charging in. Going to get some really good shots in. But will they make it to the American lines? Yes, they will. but actually breaking that unit, so good job there by the Americans. And now it is a 4-on-1. Looks like the attention is going to shift over a little bit. Got some light infantry. They're going to be engaging the King's-German Legion Lightfoot. Actually, I take that back. They're actually going to be charging the house. They want the house back, seeing that it is open. I guess the British just didn't like the conditions. Maybe it was unsafe. I don't know. But Americans going to be going back into the White House, and the Marines did come back, so it's definitely not over yet. Still have a lot of hope in these American troops to get the job done. And we will see, will the British general fall? They did charge into the light infantry. Looks like they don't want them entering the building. And the British general, being a coward like he is, running away from his fears. Oh, going back in for a counter charge. But it looks like he will not commit or follow through. Guys did enter the building. And the cowardice general is going to run back. Go drink some tea and eat some crumpets and think about his next move on what to do. Let's try to locate where he is. I think this might... No. Where is the general? He's got to be here somewhere. He's got to look a little bit different than the rest of the units. You guys know, let me know in the comment section, because right now I have absolutely no clue. Oh, actually, one guy got flung off his horse. Artillery actually killing his own units. And there goes the general. So, rockets actually shooting their own general. What are they thinking right now? And who knew 94 men would be controlling 9 rockets? So this could be a whole unit in itself, pretty much, for lines. But the American morale is now starting to ultimately waver. Only 2 units left on this side of the battlefield. Marines trying to hold out. And only 2 units here. And plus, we got 1 in the building. But the building's actually getting shot up. Down to 55% damage now. But taking a look at the carnage inside the White House. A lot of bodies. And we have one really awkward ladder going up to the roof. We do have a couple guys up there. Oh, did I just see someone fly? No, I'm seeing things now. Another volley with the rockets. 56% damage. The fire is really starting to flame up. Heat up. Whatever you want to say. But the Marines, about 1/4 of their unit. Maybe 1/3. They're going to be holding on. And they're up against quite a bit right now. 1 on 2 basically. And worse is happening over here. Pretty much a 1 on 3. Now a charge by the British. Americans actually shooting their own men. Pulling a stall in. Having no mercy for the routing troops. And I guess that is pretty acceptable for the circumstances. But still, shooting your own men in the back as they run back, is that right? I don't know. Well, I guess the Americans that did shoot their own guys in the back will pay the price, and now the White House is once again under attack. More British troops being sent in. One guy actually getting choked out. Another getting stabbed in the gut. And this one guy trying to hold off the entire unit. And actually managed to do so. British troops routing from the house. And it is still under American control. Marines. Only 3 units left for the Americans at this point. Going to reform the 6th line. Try and engage on the Royal Marines for the United Kingdom. So I guess these guys are equally skilled, if not better than the Marines. But we will see. They both have pretty close numbers. But like I said, they're still facing a 2-phased fight. Got the rifles on one end and some light infantry on the other, not to mention artillery. But seeing that artillery is very inaccurate, it's pretty much balanced, but you can hear the screams from the British troops and the Americans as they do perish. And there goes the 6th line, so Marines all on their own right now. And unable to finish the job. So final unit left for the Americans. The final hope for Washington in keeping this White House. We will see. 62 men defending an entire British army, pushing upstairs, getting one kill. They are not giving up. Fighting to the last man. Losing a lot of troops actually, and there it goes. So the British have won the battle. So looks like history did follow through. It was pretty historically accurate. You know, the British took the White House and burnt it down. So taking a look at the statistics, you can see I got 1,800 kills and lost 2,400. As for Craven, that was in command of the British, he got 2,100 kills and lost 2,000. So as you can tell, I did deploy more units, so I had more quantity over quality, and that definitely did hurt me, but the Americans really don't have that many nice units, so I had pretty much no other choice. But taking a look at the unit statistics, Maryland Dragoons on top, 256 kills, and losing only 53, so getting 2 chevrons. The rest of the units, Marines up next, 147 and losing 160. But not too bad. I hope you guys have a fun 4th of July. I know it is one day early, but I'm doing that on purpose just because I want you guys to enjoy, you know, your day off, what you're doing, and just make sure you're safe. You know, 4th of July things do get a little bit crazy. You know, you get some hands get blown off from fireworks, losing some hair from, you know, flames getting in your face, and so on. So hopefully you guys do have a fun holiday. And as for the people in Britain, happy 4th of July, just another day to you. And that is pretty much it, guys. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I will see you guys later.
Of the past that control